What's up? Brian Tong here, and it's been a few days since the United States Department of Justice sued Apple for being an illegal monopoly over smartphones in the US. And I've read through a good amount of the 88-page antitrust lawsuit filed by the DOJ, and there are some nuggets in here we're talking about. Now, the DOJ claims that Apple has maintained an illegal monopoly over the smartphone market by locking in customers and making experiences worse for rival products. Apple currently holds about a 65 to 70% market share in the US, which is hardly a monopoly from a market share standpoint, and globally, they're only 25 to 30%, but this is about the US. Now, the DOJ here, though, they're focusing on 5 key points, but they have plenty other in the lawsuit that they touch upon, and we're going to touch upon some of those. But what the DOJ is really trying to establish here is a pattern of behavior that has continued over the years to show that Apple has acted as a monopoly. But some of their key points and their reasoning seem to be a little bit out of touch with how we see things in the tech space. So let's talk about what they consider their big 5. And probably the strongest complaint against Apple is their blue bubble iMessage lock-in that has absolutely made some family members switch over to an iPhone, or young people needing to get an iPhone to stay relevant and be part of the group chat with their friends. It's a real thing. Now, 85% of teens have an iPhone because of this, even if there are third-party messaging apps out there that you can choose from. Now, iMessage has been one of Apple's strongest ecosystem apps and hooks, and they have made sure to not make it available on Android to protect the ecosystem that they built. The lawsuit says Apple makes third-party messaging apps on the iPhone worse generally and relative to Apple Messages, Apple's own messaging app. By prohibiting third-party apps from sending or receiving carrier-based messages, by doing so, Apple is knowingly and deliberately degrading quality, privacy, and security for its users and others who do not have iPhones. Apple also harms developers by artificially constraining the size of their user base. Now, Apple did say that they would be supporting RCS Messaging and will likely unveil that at WWDC this year. But the DOJ, to them, that doesn't matter. They even called out this quote from Tim Cook.
I can't send my mom certain videos, or she can't send me certain videos. And so we leave
Buy your mom an iPhone.
Yeah, I remember that one. Now, as we go through these points, I would love to hear what you think about this based on your experiences. And also, let's try to come to the comment section with some level-headedness, please. Okay, now next up, super apps. Super what? Yeah, I had never really heard of the term super apps until this lawsuit, but the DOJ claims Apple has been suppressing super apps and harming all smartphone users, including Apple users, by denying them access. So we don't really have them or lean into them here in the US, but a super app like, let's say, WeChat is not only a messaging app, but is really your primary digital wallet for payments and more overseas. Could you imagine if Apple did something like that? Now, super apps, they aren't really a thing here, like I said, and they aren't a thing on Android in the US either, but that's just one of their points. Now, next one, cloud streaming gaming apps. The DOJ says cloud streaming games can improve smartphone competition by decreasing the importance of expensive hardware, and denying them on Apple's platform harms developers by preventing them from selling cloud streaming games to users. Now, Apple did recently announce that they are opening up cloud streaming game services to their App Store, but I always thought that this was actually a competitive advantage for Android because Apple didn't have them. Now, another key point for the DOJ, SmartWatches, right? The lawsuit says Apple suppressed key functions of third-party smartwatches by not making their watch OS easy to work with third-party smartwatches. Now, Google and Samsung don't make and haven't made their smartwatches compatible on iOS, and it's already been reported that Apple stopped developing their Apple Watch to be compatible with Android's Wear OS because of privacy concerns. Now, the lawsuit added this: smartwatches that can be paired with different smartphones allow users to retain their investment in a smartwatch when switching phones, thereby decreasing the literal cost associated with switching from one smartphone to another. No company, let's be real, no company enables this, and the Apple Watch itself only has about a 25 to 30% penetration rate for just Apple users. And guess what? They happen to literally make the best smartwatch. And I'm not here defending Apple here on this point. I'm just saying, as a tech connoisseur, this one feels like a little bit of a reach for me. Okay, the 5th key point, Apple limiting third-party digital wallet apps that could be moved cross-platform. Now, I've never even thought of wanting or needing a third-party digital wallet app, and even on my Pixel 8 Pro, I just use their wallet. I never was craving to have the Apple wallet on that phone either. The lawsuit says that Apple has denied users access to digital wallets that would have provided a wide variety of enhanced features and denied digital wallet developers, often banks, the opportunity to provide advanced digital payment services to their own customers in a wide variety of additional ways. I just never thought I needed another wallet app, ever. Now, Apple still prevents the use of alternative third-party app stores in the US, and they are hitting them for that. And Apple, look, they had to open up third-party app stores in the EU recently, but here's another point that was a reach for me. CarPlay, yes. CarPlay came up here as being anti-competitive, but I don't know if they understand it. Now, the lawsuit says, like the smartphone market, infotainment systems are increasingly considered must-have capabilities in newer vehicles. After leveraging its smartphone dominance to car infotainment systems, Apple has told automakers that the next generation of Apple CarPlay will take over all of the screens, sensors, and gauges in a car, forcing users to experience driving as an iPhone-centric experience if they want to use any of the features provided by CarPlay. So, I don't think the DOJ knows how car systems work in 2024. Your cars don't ever require CarPlay to actually use them. No one is forcing anyone to use CarPlay. It's actually the opposite. The reality is that it's Android Auto that is the dominant OS in cars today, and not Apple CarPlay. Like, it's not even close. It's almost as if they saw the CarPlay reveal from WWDC and thought, oh my God, Apple is now actually going to take over all car systems and all screens on your car. But it's another point that they are hammering to create this, case that Apple's behavior is anti-competitive from all these different angles. And now, let's talk about the best gem from the lawsuit, okay? Just stick with me for this one. It says, many prominent, well-financed companies have tried and failed to successfully enter the relevant markets because of these entry barriers. Past failures include Amazon, which released its Fire mobile phone in 2014, but could not profitably sustain its business and exited the following year. The Fire was a trash-ass phone. That wasn't because of Apple. Okay, Microsoft, which discontinued its mobile business in 2017. Yeah, they came way too late to the game with a modern phone, and it was already too late for them. HTC, which exited the market by selling its smartphone business to Google in September 2017, and LG, which exited the smartphone market in 2021. I feel like these two companies were maybe more getting swallowed up by all the fierce Android phone competition more than the iPhone. And look, it just feels like they're really going after the idea of ecosystem lock-in. We didn't even know what a tech ecosystem was before Apple, and now everyone is trying to do their own. And I think the two places that they can really get to Apple is with their messages, the green bubble, the blue bubble antics, and then also their treatment towards app developers, just making it difficult for them over time with just such high royalties from the 15 to 30%. I would have liked to seen it over the years, just almost as an offering. I know, yeah, no one's going to turn away money, but the App Store has been out for so long. Maybe drop that range down to 10 to 20% after all these years. I think app developers would not have made nearly the big of a fuss that they did. And, and when I say that, Spotify and Epic, obviously the two at the forefront. And yes, I do know that Apple created the App Store and millions of jobs came from it, but they had all the time in the world to just be more friendly to app developers, and I think they're getting a lot of pushback because of this. And now it's just another thing that might bite them in the apps. The reality is that this is going to be a long battle, right? Apple's not going to go roll over, and they're going to fight this to the very, very end. You look at something like the Microsoft antitrust lawsuit back in the 90s, that lasted over 3 years, and then another 4 to go through the appeals court. So this is going to be a big deal with high stakes. It's going to be a slugfest, and we'll be keeping an eye on how this all develops. But look, there's a lot of things going to be popping up in the background. We'll be sure to see some more, let's say, secrets revealed from those leaked emails that end up becoming public in a lawsuit like this, because it's Apple versus the DOJ. And who thinks this gets resolved by 2030 or after 2030? That's the over-under. And do we need to bring back the prize fight for this eventually? Whoop-ha! Hey, I'd love to hear what you think about this, so put it in the comments and I'll read them after my vacation this week. That's where I'm going. So, hey, that's going to do it for this video. If you like what you see, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my latest videos when they drop. And if you want more of that Apple goodness, you can check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast, where I went a whole lot more in depth with this topic with our friend Gil Cabrera, our legal counsel. So check it out for yourself. Plus, you can support all my content with an ad-free version of the podcast, early access to my content, and exclusive content at patreon.com/BrianTong. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace and love.